My name is Joe. I'm a local comedian in the 209 area, and I figured I'd share some of my thoughts on MMA in 2008. I saw an episode of Sport Fight on Comcast, and I thought it was pretty funny because one of the competitors did a jackhammer, literally did a jackhammer like Goldberg back in WCW, and landed it cleanly, perfectly. And both the broadcasters were like, I think he just did a DDT. You know what? I'm pretty sure Jack Encarnacion from Sure Dog just about crapped his pants when he heard that, because if he saw that and called that, it would have been off the hook. Did anyone notice the female referee in WEC 37? I'm glad to see that Tim Sylvia's sister is getting involved in MMA also. I wonder if UK fans are as dense as American MMA fans. Like, hi buddy, you gonna watch that UFC this weekend? Oh, I don't know, is Michael Bisping gonna be in it? Well, he fought in the last UFC, so I don't believe so. Like, in America, it's like, hey, you gonna watch UFC this weekend? And then the other guy's just like, is it gonna be on CBS? No, it's gonna be on pay-per-view. Are Kendo Slice or Joanna Carano gonna be on it? No, they're in Pro Elite. I mean, do you ever come across these people? I mean, not every MMA fan can be Jordan Breen with the knowledge, but, at least do a little research on it. I also this year enjoyed watching Inside MMA on HDNet. Of course, you can also watch it on SureDog.com. And I felt pretty comfortable hearing news from the mouth of Kenny Rice about MMA, because when you get it from Kenny Rice, it's coming from the horse's mouth. And who the heck ever thought that Kenny Florian was actually going to beat Joe Stevenson? I mean, Joe Stevenson looked like he could freaking guillotine like a gorilla if he had to, if his life depended on it. But I'm pretty sure next year he's not going to get past BJ Penn or even Diego Sanchez if they do that rematch. One of my favorite promotions, Pro Elite, went down quicker than a Stockton hooker this year after Kimbo Slice got TKO'd by Seth Petrozelli in 14 seconds. I mean, what do you expect? That was the first real MMA fighter that he had to go against. Ray Mercer, not an MMA fighter. Bo Cantrell, I mean, the guy was like, 10-10 at the time? And who else to go? Was it James Thompson? James Thompson's like, I don't know, the Cincinnati Bengals of MMA. And he was winning both of those rounds before they went to the third round. And he was even winning the third round before Dan Murgugliata, stopped it. If it had gone to decision, Kimbo Slice would have lost that. And I think Pro Elite would have went down even back then. And they came to the Stockton Arena and did an awesome show, in my opinion, and they couldn't even sell the place out. This is a city here in Stockton that supports minor league hockey, and they've got the biggest attendance in the minor league hockey division, and they couldn't even come to watch these professional fighters. I mean, 4 of the fighters were, contenders, in the UFC, in my opinion. And earlier this year, Fedor did his best impression of King David from the Bible by knocking off 2 Goliaths by submission. But he's not getting past Josh Barnett next year. You can count on that. And besides being even more of a skilled athlete than Fedor is, I know how to beat him. You ever watch his videos when Van Damme is in the corner and he hops in after he kicks somebody's ass and gives him a big hug and a kiss and everything? You gotta get Sho Kosugi, the guy that kicked his ass in the movie Black Eagle, to come into your corner, and then you could beat Fedor. Or maybe just find Dolph Lundgren, because I saw him pushing around Van Damme at the Cannes Film Festival Awards. I swear he was like this much taller than Van Damme. Was like, don't be touching me. It was pretty pathetic. And I get annoyed when people call MMA Ultimate Fighting. It's not Ultimate Fighting, it's called MMA. And if you're familiar with Gary Radnich, he does a call-in show on KMBR every weekday between, I think, 9 and noon. Like one time he's like, hey, is that IFL going to take over boxing? Of course, he wasn't talking about the IFL. He was talking about mixed martial arts as a whole. Ignorant. And even a couple years ago, I remember there was an interview where Boss Rutan was talking to Fitz and Brooks on KMBR, and it's like the worst morning show, sports show in the history of sports shows. And they're like, Kimbo Slice is fighting this weekend. We're going to have some videos on MMA Rated, or I think it's MMAtoday.com. And then the guy Fitz kept going, okay, if you want to see Boss Rutan and Kimbo Slice, you got to go to MMM Today. And Boss Rutan called him. I was like, look, it's not MMM Today, it's MMA Today. Or otherwise, you're going to get a candy show if you go to MMMtoday.com.